When did you first hear about St. Anne's?
I heard about St. Anne's in an advertisement um, on the internet, or in the newspaper, I think. It must have been in the newspaper.
What were your thoughts on the school at that time?
Well, in the advertisement, Mrs. Lukens, who was the head of the school, had written that it was a school that was developed because it believed in every child, in the strength of every child, and respecting every child. And in the ad, it was written that, what else did she put in the ad? That it was an experiential school so that students could learn by doing. And those were really important things to me.
So you agreed on what she said?
Yep.
And you wanted to come help her and work here?
It was, when I got here, this room was empty, and the room across the hall was empty. And she took me for a tour through the school, and she walked into this classroom and the classroom across the hall, and she said, next year we'll have an 8th grade in these 2 rooms, because the school only went up to 7th grade at the time. And I thought it would be really wonderful to be part of a brand new school that was thinking about new ways to learn with students.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What were some of the things you were excited about when you first started here?
Well, there were a lot of great ideas that the teachers had about how to teach. Really wanting the students to learn through exploring the world around them, to having experiences that were real, trying things out, and to researching and finding out information to make sense of the whole world around them. And I really got that sense from my first visit here. One of the things, I was visiting lots of different schools at the time, but one of the things that really impressed me about St. Anne's School was when I walked through the front door, an 8th grader at the time opened the door for me. He was a young man, and he said, "Hello, I'm so-and-so." I don't remember his name now, but he introduced himself, and he said, "How can I help you?" And I thought that was really pretty impressive. And that made a big difference. My day got off on the right start from that in thinking about what the school wants to do for its students.
Okay, that's nice.
What has been your favorite day out of all working at the school?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a really hard one. Sometimes I think every day is my favorite day because I do love greeting you when you come in, and it's really fun. Sometimes it's very hilarious because the students are really tired, and it's fun to make jokes to see if you can look me in the eye and say hello. And sometimes children want to tell you everything about their morning right at the door, and sometimes some of the younger ones have a harder time leaving their parent, and so you have to kind of pick them up and bring them in and let them know they're going to be safe here. So every day is just a lot of fun, starting at that point. So picking out a particular day would be really tough. Give me a minute. I guess to me it's a surprise how fast every day goes and how much I laugh every day. So my favorite day is thinking about the next day that's going to come up, because it's just every day calls on a whole set of skills that sometimes is a little bit different from the day before. So I guess my favorite day is the one that's coming.
What has been your hardest day?
There's been some very hard days in terms of when things happen out in the world and we have to share information with students. Sometimes if something really sad has happened in someone's family and we have to share it at school, that's difficult. Or sometimes if bad news has happened in the world, like world events that are upsetting, those can be hard days because you know you want to share it with the children and the faculty, And you also want to take care of their feelings and make sure they have the right information. So those start out being really hard days, but the best thing about them is to just bring everyone together as a community and ask a lot of questions of the people I work with, the teachers and the other faculty and administrators. And so what starts out being really difficult days like those where you have to share hard news end up being okay, because I feel like St. Anne's is a big family and we can handle it together.
What would you say has been like the best experience that has helped you, like, lead you to this point?
You guys are good interviewers. The best experience. I think it's every time I get to have contact with students like you, and when I'm put on the spot to answer tough questions, and when I get to teach, that's what prepares me for the job even of running the school, because I really do believe that the students and the faculty, because our faculty, our teachers, I don't know if you know this or sense this, but our teachers think of themselves as learners, so they're always wanting to learn new things. So between the students and the teachers, every time I get to sit down and talk about ideas about teaching or learning or a subject, that prepares me for running the school in general. Because I have to really examine my own thoughts and come up with good, challenging ideas too, and be open to their ideas.
Thank
You're welcome.
Okay. So if Miss Nagel from 15 years ago came to the school today, what would she be surprised by?
I think I would be surprised by just how excellent the teaching and learning is at this school. I get to visit a lot of schools, big schools and little schools, schools that are close to us and schools all over the country. When I go there, I try to have an open mind and a blank slate about what the experience is going to be. Sometimes it's really difficult because I think about this school as a comparison point. It's a place where the students are really excited, they're very engaged, you're involved with a lot of great topics. I look at a paper that's coming off the Xerox machine, and it's like a really cool problem that I try to solve. And I notice that the students here are really happy and seem like they're having fun and they're very engaged. I know that that's not all there is. I know that there's tough days for everyone. But overall, I would be surprised and excited by the level of engagement that I see here. And just that the students and the teachers together seem very connected to one another. So that would be something that would be a surprise, because I don't always see it in other places. And it would be, if I saw it and I hadn't been here before, I think it would be someplace I'd want to be.